Warm welcome, everyone. Hope you're having a really good Friday. This is Edward, and we are about to dig into another Friday roast with 5 websites who's going to give some live feedback and critique for what they do well and how they can get better too. There we go. I have a very exciting thing to share that we are expanding this webinar even more. We're not just on LinkedIn anymore, we're also on Facebook. So hi to everyone on both LinkedIn and Facebook. This is going to be a webinar where me, Edward, 15 years of experience analyzing websites, are going to give some feedback and really just show you how I think you can improve your sites. So what I do is I basically go through whoever basically subscribe or nominate a website on this webinar or before, ahead of this webinar. And I am brutally honest. I am Swedish. A lot of people like to tiptoe around things, but I'm going to be as honest and as transparent and candid as I possibly can. So to set up, just so you know what to expect here on this thing, I am not doing this to sell anything. I am not doing this to, I don't know, promote a product or whatever. I'm really doing this because I've sold websites for years, and so many people said like, the feedback you just gave me was really, really useful. You should share that with more people. So this really, the reason why I started this is really because of the feedback that I got from people that I spoke to that really found the advice really useful. So one thing that I always tend to say is a lot of people feel like, yeah, a website is really important to have. Let's throw some together and see how it works. But the thing is, you will very, very rarely see any results, no matter what you do in life, if you are going to be in the bottom 80%. If you are in the top 20%, that's where all the rewards are. This is something called the Pareto's Law. A lot of people are familiar with this concept. But what I'm going to try to do is to figure out how do we get your website to be in the very top 10%, ideally. And there's 3 things that I always tend to say if you want to get there, what you need to do. First thing is you need to have really good traffic. Because if no one is going to find your website, it doesn't matter how good it is. Secondly, it needs to have really good site performance, navigation. It needs to load fast, things like this. Because in 2024, as I'm recording this, people's attention span is freaking ridiculous. So you need to have a very, very good site performance, load quickly, and navigate easily. Otherwise, you're going to lose people in the first 10 seconds. And the very last thing is you need to tell a really compelling story why people should engage with you, how you can basically make a transformation with your service, offering, product, whatever that is. So those are the 3 different things. So I have now picked out, I go always through the attendees, the people who RSV for this webinar. I'll look what are they doing, what are they working on, and then try to give feedback on those sites. For today, for this week, I have found 5 different websites we're going to have a really quick look at. Let's dig straight in, and I'm going to share my screen. We're going to have a really quick look at all of this. So where I always tend to start is, first of all, what should a website tend to say for really good communication or messaging, in a sense? So let's see. I'm going to remove some of the stuff from the screen so we can see better. Here we go. So here's a checklist that I typically always tend to use when talking about what are the doubts and hesitations someone coming to a website might have about you. The first judgment someone is going to put in your website is regarding the aesthetics. So if you can probably relate to this yourself, if you go to a website right away you see that it looks old, outdated, amateurish, you're skeptical right away. So that is going to be the very first piece, and it's something to get judged on before they read a single word of what you say on your website. So that's the first thing. Secondly, in the first 10 seconds of someone being on a website, they're making a decision. The decision they're making is not whether they want to hire you. The decision they're making is, do I want to stay and learn more? So in those first 10 seconds, we want to do number 1 and 2 on this list. So really good design, and I instantly understand what it is that you do. There's a couple of things that I would flesh that out with, like building a little bit of trust and credibility, having a call to action, a few more things. So that's something that I would say there. If they now choose, yeah, this looks interesting, I want to stay and learn more, then we go into number 3, 4, and 5. So what specifically do you actually offer? And I say that not needing just like tell me about your product. I mean, what is the transformation I could get by using your solution? What is the problem it's going to solve? What is the outcomes that I can get from utilizing your service or solution? And then they might want to know a little bit more about uh, the way you can help them get there, the vehicle. We need to build trust and credibility. That's super obvious. So many websites don't do that at all. Number 5 is, why should I choose you? In this day and age, everyone is pretty much a Google search away from finding a competitor to yours who's suffering a similar type of solution. So why should I choose you? So that's why it's really important to answer. And the very last thing, nope, no, here we go. The very last thing is, okay, what is the process of acquiring this solution? Like a lot of times people have never seen you before, don't know if they can trust you. So why should they choose you instead of someone else? So when you are able to answer these questions here, then you typically walk into the top, I would say mm, top 5 to 10% when it comes to storytelling. Uh, Hope that makes sense. And now let's dive straight into the very first roast of the day. This is a company called kryptonlabs.com. So I'm bringing them up on the screen right here. So this is not a boring webinar where I just want you to passively sit and watch and listen. I really do want this to be a webinar where you can actually get a little bit of like interaction. If you ask any from my comments, I'm reading the comments all the time. So I just got a comment here from Rogers. I'm completely changing my website due to to your feedback from the last session. Really appreciate that, Roger. I'm very glad that my advice inspired something in you. It's again, it's so fascinating how small little tweaks we need to do, and we have a completely different experience. So, really appreciate that, Roger. And let me know if you need any help with more concrete feedback as you do your iterations, because that's where it can get even more and more useful. Okay, so we have the first one here, Krypton Labs. So the very first thing that we see when we land on this website, remember on the checklist, number one thing is the aesthetics. So what I would say here is instantly on step number 1, they do really freaking well. You see you have a video in the background, very simple, smooth, captivating. It looks really casual. This is a site where I go instantly like, this looks actually quite modern. Uh, we now dig into the actual messaging. Supercharge your growth. So this is just really not saying that much. This is meant to just capture people's attention. So right now it's a little bit vague. And then we go here. Krypton Labs is an emerging tech incubator specializing in blockchain, AI, e-commerce, and transformative technologies. We incubate and accelerate early-stage startup companies and partner with established brands to build and go to market. So when I read this, it's okay, but it's not amazing. Um, there's 2 things that I always tend to say that you should have um, in your subheading here. So number 1 is, who are you serving? Number 2 is, why should they care? And 3, what problem are you actually overcoming? When you have those 3 things, imagine this. Imagine if you're going to investing in a company. What's the first thing that you want to know? What problem are they solving? Because if it's a problem that is irrelevant or just not that big of a desire for, if there's not a thirsty audience, it's not really going to matter how cool your product is. So when you add that there, a lot of people see like, oh yeah, that's actually a problem that I have. So I would tweak that messaging a little bit here, and that's going to make it a lot sharper and better. But I would say out of 5 stars, their initial, this, what we're looking at here now is called the hero, the website hero. This to me is probably 3.5 out of 5. What I would do to change that, apart from the messaging, is we also want to add something so that we right away build trust and credibility. Me analyzing this website, the first thing that I'm thinking about is, what are they trying to do? And it's very obvious to me that this is probably a lead generating website. So now you see here that there's nothing here that proves to me that they're good at what they do. I have no idea if this is something that is legit. I don't know if they're good at what they do. Like are they certified? There's nothing here. So that's a hugely simple little thing that you can add. A site that I always uh, showcase in this for this kind of example is this site here. This is a website that our agency built a while back ago. When we land on this website, you're going to see a lot of similarities. Video in the background. We're going to have a big bold message here. We say what to do, a little bit of a subheading. We have get a quote. And then here we see Google reviews. So you see right away, they have on average of 5-star ratings on Google. And that instantly makes me go, okay, seems like people like working with these guys. So this is a really good example of what I would do to improve this crypto lab site here right away. But let's keep going a little bit further. We have a lot of sites to capture or cover today, so I'm going to speed through it a little bit more. Now we go down here, and what they do here storytelling wise is one of the most typical mistakes that I see most companies do. They are all about themselves. It's, hey, here's what we do, here's who we are. Again, people don't really care until they know that you can solve a problem for them. So always what I recommend doing here is begin the messaging here, especially what these guys do as well, because it's B2B solution. They, they're in a very, very crowded space. There's so many startup accelerators and so on and so forth who claims that they can help you. So start first of all saying, who are you helping? What are the problems you're solving for them? And what outcome can that lead to? Um, let's have a look at a site that I think does a good job at doing this. We have this site here. This is an AI tool. There's a lot of things that I don't like about this website, but what they do that I like is a little bit when you scroll down here. Look at this. Here's the old way of doing things. How everyone else is doing it. Wasting time and energy, relying on questionable sources. And when you read that and you're like, oh yeah, that actually seems like a super inefficient process and way of doing it. Here's the new way. So you see what a brilliant way to just showcase, okay, we help our audience go through, skip the old way of doing it, and instead take the new way of doing it, where you reduce the steps by 4 steps, so to speak. Okay, so I would love for you guys here in the comments. I see there's comments popping in here, which is amazing. Again, keep adding any informal comments, and I'm going to check the comments and reply as quickly as I possibly can. Um, and what I would love for you to hear is, do you agree with what I'm saying or not? Because that for me is very useful feedback to get. Back to crypto guys again here. So they start talking about who they are. Then here, our mentors share the ambitions of our founders. They have pushed the boundaries of what's possible in their own businesses. Okay. Companies we work with. All right, this is good. This builds trust and credibility. Stuff like this, I recommend having higher up the page. You saw again, as an example, these guys that I just showed, they had logotypes right away, trusted by 50,000 users around the world. Google, Atlassian, Stanford. You see right away how they build trust instantly. That makes you want to stay and learn a little bit more rather than keeping it a lot further down like these guys do here. Okay. I would say that the design of this website is actually really good. Not taking in the content itself and the storytelling, there I think they have a lot to work on, but the design itself is actually pretty good. Here we have Crypto Labs operates 10 streams. Okay. Here is another thing that I would say they should do. Like, I can't click and learn more. Like, okay, so what do you do for growth marketing? Like, what is that? I can't click and learn more, which is another thing that I think they can do a little bit better there. Partners, very good. News, and now we're at the end of the website. So some things that I would say now is, look at this here. I see no call to actions anywhere. Either that could be intentional, but if they now are trying to get new customers and clients, they need to have call to actions. I don't know what kind of problems they help me solve and overcome. They're not building a need. They're not building a desire for me to solve this problem. They're not saying what makes them different and unique. They have no call to actions. There's many, many things here. So Uh, Krypton Labs, if you need any form of advice, what I do recommend is you're going to see in the bottom here, we have this banner rotating. You can reach out and I can give you a little bit more direct feedback. There's a bunch of sub pages here that we can discuss as well. But like so much potential with this business. So many startups are struggling with growing and establishing themselves. They're doing it for the first time. You have a huge audience, but your website right now probably has meant that a lot of people are dropping off the website. So there's a little bit of feedback for uh, Krypton Labs. Okay, so for the audience watching this, please leave a comment. Say what you think, what you recommend. There's also a couple of pieces that I can miss naturally. I'm only almost perfect. We're gonna move on to the next one, which is a website that is a placeholder. This is a website called Nexera Material Group. So this is a website, and I'm bringing this up as an example for a lot of companies just throw up a website really quick as a placeholder, and that's what this website is. So when we land on this website here, we're going to see right away that um, we have a fairly okay design. It's not amazing, but it doesn't look like it's completely amateurish. Introducing the new building materials of the future. That's a good eye-catching initial message. One board replaces sheetrock, plywood, interior underlays, and subfloor. Background. Okay. You see here, I don't really know yet what this is and what it does. So this is obviously like a website that is just putting something up while the building the bigger website, so to speak. Um, there's a lot of things that I would do here. Again, a site like this you can slap up online in 20 minutes. Whenever you do something like this here, um, it's so easy to find both templates for this that are pretty much free. You can go to Canva. I made a website yesterday for a friend who had his birthday. So I created a website in Canva in basically 1 minute. And they had templates for sites like this. So I highly recommend that. You can sign up for Canva for free. We're not sponsored by them at all. This is just me recommending. And I would have bigger photos. I would have, here is the problem we're solving. Always, 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 especially like with products like this that are new and, you know, innovating. Talk about what problem it's solving. Um, and then I would have not email us, but like that could be another secondary call to action. But I would have like subscribe now to let us know when it's live, something like that. Because then you're capturing people's information. It's far less likely that people are going to go and email you just out of the blue. But if they had an option here, just saying, "Look, let us subscribe here, and we'll let you know when we're ready to take on business." Okay. All right. So that's again, this is a very quick feedback on this site. Um, there's not too much that we can say about that because it's just a placeholder. But visual, say what you do, say what problem you're solving, and let people be able to subscribe and be notified. That means that you're actually building an audience of interested people for whenever you're ready. And I assume that would be what you want. Okay. Next up, we are going to go into a company called HBF Capital. So um, this is a website which is, again, it's a little bit more business to business oriented. When we land on this website again, you're going to see most of the websites that we're roasting here are small businesses. We're not going to Apple and Amazon and stuff like that because they got their they got their whole setup covered already. Imagine now this here. You are landing on this website. You're here for the first time. What are the first thing you're thinking about? Design, first of all. Very simple design. I don't really know anything about how they built the site, of course, but it's just a white background. I see they have one button on the home page. They have a rounded photo here, which actually looks a little bit okay, and then black. It's a little bit of an Apple-esque look and feel, but it still looks far too basic, if you ask me. Um, again, we build remote businesses using talent plus tech. Again, remember this here. You have so little time to get people to want to stay on your website these days. When I read that, I have no idea why this is going to be useful for me.
I don't know why I should pay attention. I don't know if it's right for me. Again, I don't know the context of how they drive traffic to the website, which can make a big difference. Also, from what I've seen so far, it's like no idea. And then we'll read the subheading. HBF Capital builds profitable businesses through a global talent and technology, aiming to create equitable opportunities for all. Yeah. Again, imagine this for yourself. We have only seen this here. What do you know about this company? Can you recommend this to someone? Do you understand what they can help you do? What are the services? What are they doing? Very, very vague messaging so far. Um, a really good framework. If anyone would like me to send them a PDF with a, we basically analyze some of the biggest startups in the world, Airbnb, Uber, so on and so forth, um, and figure out how did they tweak their messaging over time. There's platforms out there where you can basically track what website looks like back in the days. We can see how they changed the messaging, and based on that, we saw when did they break through. If you want me to send you that PDF, just send me a message or add a comment with your contact information. I'll reach out and send that to you. But that will basically walk you through step by step how you craft a message so that when people land on your website, they go, wait a second, this could actually be really good for me. And they want to stay on the website. So far here, my feedback is I don't know what they do. It's very simplistic and basic. There's no call to action. They don't build any trust. They're I don't know what makes it different and unique. I don't know what the problem is. I basically know anything. This here seems to be very, very broad way of describing their business that doesn't really make too much sense. So again, this might just be a placeholder website. You can't go anywhere. You can't navigate anywhere. It's just like there's. I even think you can put into ChatGPT. Here's the problem we're solving. Let us know, and we can. Or ChatGPT will then print out. Here's what you can see on your website. Like, guys, look at that. It's so powerful. With ChatGPT, you can get them to create so unique messaging on your website. You just need to tell them, "Hey, I'm building a website. I want to hear a message that clearly says what my value proposition is. Uh, describe your business, and then spit out 10 options." And and ChatGPT is going to give you 10 options that you can just pick the best one. It's so easy to create good copy today that there's no excuse for it. So again, HBF Capital, like what they built so far, is for me a 1 out of 5. Let's move on to multi-source power. These guys here. So now we're going to dig into a little bit of a more well-built and produced, developed website in a sense. Okay, so here we now have a website where the very first thing that we see here is energy storage redefined. We have a photo. So when I'm looking at the aesthetics, I think this looks a lot more professional than the sites that we've seen so far, except for the first one. Um, so we see a photo. I don't really know what we're looking at here. Is this like, I don't know what this is. It looks, yeah, it looks like some form of power grid type of thing. Um, and then we start reading the text. Energy storage redefined. Great. Again, I would instantly say here they should add a subheading to describe this a little bit more because this here is just super broad. We have a menu up here now. So what they do is they don't indicate that I can scroll the website. It's a very useful thing. Just add an arrow or something here that shows scroll to learn more. So now the risk is people are going to get lost in this maze of the menu up top here. But let's just start scrolling. British energy storage manufacturers of the most flexible energy storage solution on or off the grid. I think everyone looking at this right now can agree with me that you should not start your website with a pretty much a full page with black and white text. We're in 2024. You are very, very lucky if a visitor to your website gives you a minute. You're very lucky if they give you 30 seconds. And if you want to captivate your audience with a big text like this, I would only recommend that if you are like your audience is like academics, because academics loves to read and digest piece of information like this here. Me, I mean, it would be a freaking miracle if I don't have ADHD. I'm not diagnosed. I'm not going to test because I'm worried about the results. But anyways, This here is never going to get my attention. I'm just going to, you've already lost my attention span here, and I'm just going to start scrolling down. And again, here we go down to their outstanding products. So here, again, it looks very Apple-esque. It's not a terrible design that they have, but it's just so freaking much text here. Um, what I would do is I would remove this text. I would have a lot more of a sexy name for the products. Maybe say which is the use case for the product. And then when I hover above that photo, then this text appears. That's a much better way to do it. I know that a lot of websites think they need to add so much text because it's great for SEO. Well, SEO will still be able to pick up because their crawlers know the code and they can see that the text is still there. It's just not visible like this, because this is just ruining the experience for a lot of people who are not willing to read big chunks of text like this. When they're here, the goal is just to give them an overview of the product, click on the one that you want to learn more about. It's not that they should know every single product specification when they're on the homepage like this. Popular applications, universities and colleges. Okay. Yep. This is again good information, but I would actually even put this a little bit higher up. Recent projects, good information once again. That's very good to see case studies. Outstanding support. Yeah, here's probably like why choose them. I would say that here. Why should we work with you? And then latest news. And then last of all, contact us. So once again, notice like there are so many small details that make a big difference. In this case, if I now look at this website and I am interested, you want to make it as easy as possible for me to convert. There is no call to actions here anywhere. Look at this. There's nowhere I can click get in touch, book a call. If I really dive in and I see there's a contact here, but by the way, contact is not a call to action that I recommend because very few people would even click on that because like, okay, now I need to write a long email and fill out a bunch of a long contact form and stuff like that, and then they have contact us all the way in the bottom. So my summary of the main takeaways, what I would do to fix this website is A, change your hero quite a lot. Better messaging, say what is your value proposition, say what people should care, build trust and credibility, add a call to action. A second thing that I would do is these products are probably, they sell to businesses by the me looking down here, public application, universities, EV charging, commercial and industrials. I assume they have a lot of business to business customers. Make them have a really compelling offer. Get a free assessment, get a free quote, get a free consultation, something that you provide of value so that when someone comes here and sees these products and they might have some relevance, it's like, okay, why not just get a free quote? Why not? There's nothing like that right now. Now it's just contact us. So imagine if you have, let's just for the sake of example, you have 100 visitors to your website. They all go down here, they read through the homepage and they go down here. If you have contact us, which 50 people are going to see, and then you have get a free quote, which another 50 are going to see, how big difference do you think you're going to have in the click rate on that button? My guess here is you're going to have more than 3 times the clicks on get a free quote, for example. So nice design, but storytelling and the way they engage their audience, it leaves a lot to ask there. Okay, so hopefully that is valuable to you guys. Multi-source power. Very last of all, now we have a website that is called the Spectrum Group. This is probably going to be one of the most interesting websites because I think out of all the sites that we've seen, apart from the crypto guys in the beginning, this might be the most well developed, the ones who put the most effort into the website. So let's begin. Again, we're putting on the glasses here of imagining that we are a potential, a typical visitor on this website. So, Spectrum Group, your gateway to seamless remote services. Almost good, because seamless remote services, again, that could be so many different things. But your gateway to is actually a very good way to start it because that's basically meaning that I can now do something I've never done before. Access 200 plus vendors across 6 countries, all in one solution for your convenience. Again, think about this. When I look at your homepage and I have 10 seconds here, that you're lucky if you get 10 seconds. If they're not impressed after 10 seconds, very few people are going to stay. And I look at this website for 10 seconds and I don't really know what it is. If I do zoom into the logo type up top here, it says turnkey project management services. Okay, still, I can't say after 10 seconds on this website what they do. Contact today, good, but again, add something of value instead. Contact, what is the value for me in that? Like, add at least something about get your questions answered or free consultation, free advice, something that just is of value. You get so many more people that is clicking on that button because of it. Uh, Again, what you see here, design-wise, pretty good. Look, when I hover above something, something actually happens and moving around, which is a lot better. Issue here, though, is it looks a little bit professional when the boxes are not aligned. You see that here? Um, and again, messaging-wise, go straight into their services. They don't talk at all about their value proposition, the difference they can make, the results they're able to deliver. A lot of those kind of things would make it a lot better. I always want to provide really good examples. So when I say that, one of my favorite sites that do that really well is Webtec. Look at this here. This is in one of the most competitive industries that you can imagine. So data-driven revenue marketing, it's basically a marketing agency. Look here what they say. Almost 25 million leads generated, more than 1,000 client testimonials, more than 7 calls, 7 million calls. Down here, you see some more than 1,000 real results, 184% increase in organic traffic. Wow, these guys know how to drive results. You see that? Down here, build trust and credibility with logo types. So they're so much more compelling in the way they tell their story. Back to these guys. You see nothing here with results. You don't know what problem they're helping you solve. Um, but I do like the design here. That's a good thing. Industry partners are great. Again, you've heard me say this before. Push this higher up. Build trust and credibility early, so that people see that they're dealing with a credible vendor. Don't make people climb the tree to get to the fruit. Unleashing your client's potential by maximizing the innovation. And this is nice too. You see here how they change the colors of text. Small details like that is really nice. Request a callback. Again, what I would do here is if they're going to want to get on a call anyways, why not just have an integrated calendar? I'm going to get props to another website here that we built a while back ago. These guys here. This is a guy who runs a sustainability consulting company. Here you see free consultation. If you click free consultation, here you can either schedule a call. If you click here, and that's okay. Now it's opening up a new tab. Then you see a calendar where I can pick a time here, and it's capturing the same information anyways. So I would always recommend have some form of online booking calendar. It's the easiest thing in the world to set up on your website. More about us. Okay. So I've gone through their homepage. Okay, down here they have testimonials as well. This is also something that would push higher up. In your case, Spectrum Group, here's my feedback. Change your call to actions to something that is value adding. Build more trust and credibility. Add something right away here that showcases that I think I can trust you, or that makes me believe that I can trust you. Instead of just jumping straight into your services, talk about the transformation you help your clients solve. What pain points can you overcome, and what results can you help people get? I would also recommend using a little bit of video content. Again, back to the guys we just looked at, Earthkind Energy did a great job with that. Um, I don't know what makes them different, unique. I don't know what the process is when I work with them. If we look back at the checklist that I showed in the beginning, there's so many of these that I still don't really get. Number one, they do okay. Number two is not good. Number three is not good. Number four comes too far down. They have they have the ingredients, but not in the right order. I don't know why I should choose you, and I don't know what the process is going to be like. So I think they do number four, a little bit of number three, but that's really it. So these guys again, most likely have had a lot of traffic coming to your website that could have been converted, but because of these issues, they just dropped off your website, and you most likely never going to hear from them again. That's the shame. So we're at the end of this webinar. I'm going to open up now to anyone who has any questions. Please feel free to post that in the chat. I'm going to stay here on for another minute, so you can post any form of comment, and even afterwards, if you're watching the replay of this, if you post any comments, I get notified, and I'm going to get back and answer to you as quickly as I possibly can on that. Um, Next week, we're going to do something a little bit different. So next week, I'm going to actually bring on board a guest. And this is going to be a guest that that is the marketing director for a company that offers company retreats. And it's a great company. There's such a cool solution that they do, very well established. But we're going to dig in, and you're going to see how I, to her face, going to give her feedback on how she can improve her website. So really looking forward to seeing all of you at the next one. If you have any website that you want me to give feedback on, you can leave a comment here as well, and I'll reach out to you directly with a recording with some feedback. I'm super blessed to be doing something that I love. So any feedback that you want, reach out. I'll help you, and yeah, make sure that you get a website that is crushing the competition. Thank you so much for attending. Really hope you're having a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday.